Hey brother, I want to ask you something most men never stop to consider. When was the last time you were kind to yourself? I'm not talking about letting yourself off the hook, ignoring your responsibilities, or shrugging off your mistakes. I mean real kindness, gentleness, compassion, the kind you'd give to a friend who was hurting, the kind you'd show to your son if he came home in tears because the world broke his heart, the kind you'd offer to a brother if he finally cracked under the weight and said, "I can't carry this anymore." When was the last time you gave that to yourself? I know a lot of men would go to the ends of the earth for their family. They'd stand in front of danger to protect their kids. They'd die for the people they love. But those same men won't even speak a kind word to themselves in the mirror. And maybe, just maybe, that's something that needs to start changing. So let me ask you another question. Where did you learn to treat yourself so harshly? A baby doesn't look in the crib and say, "You're pathetic." A little boy doesn't scrape his knee and mutter, "Idiot, why did you fall?" None of us were born this way. No, somewhere along the way, we learnt this voice. There was once a boy whose whole world fit inside a little red truck. It was his favourite thing in the world. He played with it every day, racing it up and down the hallway, imagining himself behind the wheel. One day he dropped it and a wheel snapped off. But before he could pick it up, his father barked, "Why can't you be more careful? You always break things. What's wrong with you?" The little boy didn't just hear about the toy. He heard about himself. He wasn't just careless, he was broken. And that very moment planted a seed of harshness, a seed of self-criticism, and year after year, the boy grew into a man, still hearing that same voice every time something went wrong. Brother, that's how it begins. It's not always with big traumas. Sometimes it's with small cuts, but cuts that never heal. Maybe it was a father who didn't know how to speak gently. Maybe it was a coach who believed toughness would win games, but never understood that encouragement fuels greatness too. Maybe it was a culture around us, pounding into us the message, real men don't cry, real men don't rest, real men don't fail, real men don't feel. So what did we do? We toughened up. We swallowed emotions. We turned pressure into fuel. We measured our worth in what we could produce, in what we could accomplish, in how we stacked up against other men. And along the way, we started talking to ourselves like drill sergeants instead of brothers. And you know what? For a while, maybe that voice helped you survive. It kept you pushing when life was brutal. It gave you an edge. It made you grit your teeth and keep moving. But here's the thing. You're not in survival mode anymore. At least not always. And when survival ends, that voice doesn't know how to stop. Brother, listen carefully. That harsh voice inside you, it's not strength. It's unhealed pain. And if you don't face it, it will sabotage the very life you're trying to build. Let me put it this way. It's like you've got a drill sergeant living in your skull. Now in a war zone, that drill sergeant has a role. When bullets are flying, when the mission is life or death, you need a voice that barks, "Move, push, don't stop, get up, keep going." That voice can save your life. That voice can carry you through seasons where survival is the only option. But here's the problem. Some of us left the battlefield years ago, but the drill sergeant never got the memo. Now you're at home, sitting with your wife, and the drill sergeant is still screaming in your ear, "You're failing her. You're not enough. You better work harder. You're at work, trying to do your best, and the drill sergeant shouts, "Don't screw this up. They'll all see you're a fraud." You're lying in bed at night, trying to sleep, and the drill sergeant starts barking, "You wasted the day. You're lazy. You'll never get ahead." Brother, what was once survival has become sabotage. So let me drive this home. That cruel voice is not your destiny. That critic in your head is not your commander. That shame is not your future. You're not a soldier stuck on yesterday's battlefield. You're a man called to live today with purpose. And here's the truth Scripture reminds us. As a father has compassion on his children, so the Lord has compassion on those who honor him. God doesn't speak to his sons with cruelty. He speaks with compassion. And if the Father of heaven doesn't bark orders at you, then why keep letting that harsh voice run your life? Today, the fight is no longer to endure the abuse of that inner critic. The fight is to replace it with a better voice, a voice of truth, a voice of kindness, a voice that calls you forward. Let's be honest. Most of us would never speak to another man the way we speak to ourselves. "You idiot? You're worthless? You're screwing things up? You'll never be enough?" If a friend talked to us like that every single day, we'd cut him out of our lives. We'd say, "That's toxic. That's abuse. That's not friendship." But we say those things to ourselves, and we call it normal. There's a husband who's been married for years. His wife tells him, "I love you." She tells him, "I'm proud of you." She tells him, "You're a good man." But every time she says it, he shrugs it off. He says, "You don't mean that. You don't see how much I fail. You don't know the whole story." Brother, that's what self-cruelty does. It builds a wall between you and love. It makes every compliment bounce off, like arrows hitting armor, and over time, it leaves a man starved for the very thing that's been offered to him all along. And here's the cost. Every unkind word you aim inward chips away at your soul. It drains your energy, it crushes your creativity, it builds shame instead of strength. And maybe worst of all, it makes it harder to receive love, even from the people who mean it most. Because if deep down you believe you're unworthy, then every time someone says, "I love you, I'm proud of you, I'm with you," it bounces off that armor of shame. You can't take it in. Brother, self-cruelty doesn't make you stronger. It makes you smaller. It builds a cage around the heart. And I don't want you living in a cage you've locked yourself in. There was once a tree planted in rich soil. It had everything it needed to grow tall and strong. But day after day, a man watered it with salt water instead of fresh water. At first, the tree seemed fine. The leaves still spread, the trunk still held, but slowly, quietly, the poison seeped in. The leaves withered, the branch grew brittle, and one day, what could have been a mighty oak stood dry and hollow. Brother, that's what harsh words do inside a man. They look harmless for a season, but they are salt on the roots of your soul. And if you don't change the water, you'll wither long before your time. There was a certain father who grew up with a cruel inner voice. He never learnt to silence it. Every day it told him, "You're not enough." Every mistake it shouted, "You're a failure." And he carried that same harshness into fatherhood. Every time his son messed up, he barked, "Come on, toughen up. Don't be weak." He thought he was making his son strong, but what he was really doing was handing down that same broken inheritance he had received. Brother, cruelty doesn't stop with you. It ripples outward. It touches your kids. It shapes your marriage. It bleeds into your friendships. And unless you break the chain, it keeps moving forward. Listen carefully. Self-cruelty will rob you blind. It will rob you of confidence because you'll never believe you measure up. It will rob your relationships because you'll keep others at a distance. It will rob your peace because your mind will always be a battlefield. It will rob your future because your shame will convince you not to try. And here's the tragedy. Most men go their whole lives like this. They build houses, careers, families, but inside, they're hollow. They never taste joy. They never rest in love. They never learn what it means to be kind to the man in the mirror. There was once a man sitting in a prison cell. The walls were cold. The floor was worn from years of pacing. He believed he was trapped. Day after day he sat in silence, convinced that freedom was impossible. One afternoon another man passed by and asked, "Why do you stay in there?" The prisoner lifted his eyes and said, "Because the door is locked." The man stepped closer, studied the door, and saw the truth. The lock was broken. It had never worked. The door was never locked. All those wasted years he could have walked free. Brother, that's what self-cruelty is like. The cage feels real. The walls feel heavy, but the lock isn't there. The only thing keeping you inside is the belief that you're trapped. And unless you realize it, you'll keep pacing in circles, living like a prisoner when freedom has been waiting all along. The Bible says, "Death and life are in the power of the tongue, and those who love it will eat its fruits." That's not just about the words you speak to others. It's also about the words you speak to yourself. Every label you accept, every harsh judgment you repeat, every quiet phrase you let echo inside, it's shaping you. Your words don't just describe your life, they direct it. Words create worlds. Words plant seeds, and sooner or later you'll eat the fruit of the words you've been sowing. If you sow cruelty, you'll reap shame. If you sow kindness, you'll reap strength. Brother, your inner words are either killing you or keeping you alive. Now, let me remind you, cruelty will cage you. Cruelty will crush you. Cruelty will keep you from receiving the love that's right in front of you. But kindness builds. Kindness heals. Kindness frees. Brother, don't spend another year watering your soul with poison. Don't spend another decade living inside a cage with an unlocked door. Don't spend another lifetime believing words that were never true in the first place. It's time to change the voice. It's time to change the words, because the cost of cruelty is too high and the return of kindness is too good to ignore. Now, it's not enough to just silence the critic. You've got to replace the voice, because silence leaves a vacuum, and if you don't fill that space with something new, the old voice will come knocking again. So the question is, what does it look like to actually practice kindness toward yourself? Not in theory, not as a slogan, but in your everyday life, in the way you think, in the way you move, in the way you rest, in the way you treat the man in the mirror. I want to give you 5 practices, 5 disciplines, not fluff, not sentimentality, disciplines, because kindness isn't weakness. It's discipline wrapped in mercy. It's strength under control. So let's walk through them together. Discipline number 1, Change the voice in your head. The first step is simple, but it's not easy. You've got to change the way you talk to yourself. Think about this. If you had a friend who spoke to you the way your inner critic does, how long would you keep him around? Not long. Because words have power. Words shape identity. Words plant seeds, and those seeds grow into the fruit of your life. That's why Proverbs says, the tongue has the power of life and death. That's not just about how you talk to others. That's about how you talk to yourself. There was a young runner training for his first race. Every time he slowed down, he muttered under his breath, "You're weak. You'll never finish." And you know what? He never finished. Not because his legs gave out, but because his words did. Later, he changed the script. Every step he whispered, "Stronger, faster, keep going." And that day, his body followed his voice. Here's the truth. Your inner voice becomes your inner ceiling. If you keep calling yourself worthless, you will live like you are. If you start calling yourself strong, your life will start rising to that truth. So here's the discipline. Every time that inner critic speaks, stop and ask yourself, would I say this to my brother? Would I say this to my son? If the answer is no, don't welcome it. Don't excuse it. Don't allow it a single breath. Cut it off. Replace it. Rewire it. Speak what's true. Because the words you choose today are not just commentary on your life. They're steering the course of your future. Discipline number 2. Take care of your body like it belongs to someone you love. Not like it's a machine you have to whip into shape. Not like it's a tool you can just use and throw away, but like it belongs to someone you love. Think about it. If your son came home to you sick and exhausted, would you say, "Get up, work harder, push through"? Or would you say, "Rest, son, heal, let me take care of you"? Brother, your body deserves the same. You can run an engine without oil, but only for so long. And when it finally breaks, the cost will be 10 times higher than the cost of maintenance. Your body's the same. Ignore it long enough, and the breakdown will cost you more than you can afford. Sleep like your body matters. Drink water like your body matters. Move your body, not just to punish it, but to keep it alive, to keep it strong, to keep it capable of doing the things you were made to do. Don't wait until your body screams at you. Don't wait for the doctor's warning. Don't wait until you collapse. Strength isn't grinding until you break. Strength is stewardship. Strength is saying, I love this body enough to care for it now, so it will carry me further later. Discipline number 3, rest without guilt. Let's talk about rest. Listen carefully. Productivity is not your worth. We live in a world that worships hustle, that tells us if you're not producing, you're not valuable. But that's a lie. Even great kings rested. Even great warriors rested. Even Jesus rested. And if the Son of God, if kings and warriors knew rest was essential, why do we think we're the exception? There's an old saying, if I had 8 hours to chop down a tree, I'd spend the first 6 sharpening the axe. Brother, rest is how you sharpen the axe. Work without rest is swinging a dull blade. You'll sweat more, strain more, and accomplish less. But a sharp blade, it cuts clean. It works with less effort. It lasts longer. Rest isn't laziness. Rest is strategy. Rest is strength. Rest is trust. So tonight, when you're tempted to push 1 more hour, ask yourself, is this strength or is this fear disguised as strength? Sometimes the bravest thing you can do is shut it down and rest. Discipline number 4. Forgive yourself. This one's heavy because most men carry regrets. We've all got scars. We've all got mistakes we'd give anything to erase. But here's the truth. Dragging those mistakes around won't make you better. It'll just make you bitter. You've punished yourself long enough. It's time to put it down. Your past may explain you, but it doesn't define you. That failure, that regret, that wrong choice, it isn't the whole story of who you are, and it doesn't have to be the headline of your future. Forgiving yourself isn't weakness, it's courage. It's refusing to let shame have the last word. It's choosing freedom over chains. And if you want to go deeper into this, I unpack it fully in the episode Forgiving the Man in the Mirror. That whole message is dedicated to helping men release shame, make peace with their past, and finally walk free. So today, make peace with that man in the mirror. Release him. Let him breathe again and step forward lighter, stronger, and freer. Imagine a man sitting in courtroom every day. He's the judge, he's the prosecutor, and he's also the defendant. Day after day, he brings up old evidence. Day after day, he declares himself guilty. No mercy, no grace, only punishment. Brother, how many of us are living like that? Condemned by a court that only exists in our own minds. But here's the truth. You don't have to stay in that courtroom. Forgiveness doesn't erase the past, but it frees you from reliving it. I strongly advise you to watch the episode Forgiving the Man in the Mirror in its entirety. It will change you. And finally, discipline number 5. Celebrate small wins. Brother, we're terrible at this. We only clap when we cross the finish line. We only celebrate when the mountain is conquered. But life isn't one big finish line. Life is made of steps. A man training for a marathon once said, "The only way I made it through was learning to clap for every mile." That hit me. That's 26 times he was cheered on. How many of us never clap until the whole marathon of life is done? How many of us finish a day and only see what we didn't accomplish instead of honoring what we did? I need to get better at that. Brother, celebrate showing up. Celebrate telling the truth. Celebrate not quitting. Small wins matter, and when you honor them, they multiply. The man who only celebrates mountains will quit before he climbs them, but the man who celebrates steps will keep walking until he reaches the top. Brother, everything we've talked about today comes down to this truth. You cannot give what you do not have. If the well inside you is dry, you can't draw water for anyone else. If all you carry inside is criticism and cruelty, that's what will spill out under pressure. But if you're full of kindness, real, grounded, honest kindness, then that's what outflows. That's what seeps into your marriage, your fatherhood, your friendships, your leadership. Brother, the way you treat yourself sets the tone for everything else in your life. Let's zoom out for a moment, because kindness isn't just mental. It touches every part of you. Body, soul, mind, and spirit. Kindness to the body means sleep, movement, fuel. Treating your body like a temple, not a trash can. In the episode Wholeness, Becoming the Man Who is Fully Alive, we talk about the body as more than muscle and performance. It's stewardship. It's how you carry your purpose into the world. So brother, treat your body with honor, not out of vanity, out of gratitude. Kindness to the soul is laughter, friendship, joy. It's making space for fun without guilt. It's letting yourself breathe. We haven't gone deep into this yet, but we will. Because joy is not weakness, it's strength for the soul. And in an upcoming episode, we'll talk about gratitude and how noticing the good restores the heart. Kindness to the mind means reframing thoughts, challenging lies, refusing distortion. If you've been tracking with this journey, you'll remember the episode Louder Than the Lie. That's where we learn how to stand tall when false voices accuse you. And if you wrestle daily with thoughts that spin out of control, don't believe everything you think. Because brother, taming the mind is a battle worth fighting. Kindness here isn't ignoring your thoughts. It's testing them. It's speaking truth to them. It's refusing to let distortions define you. And kindness to the spirit, it's receiving grace. It's soaking in God's compassion. It's walking as a son, not a slave. Brother, kindness to your spirit is believing God's voice above every other. It's remembering that His kindness, not His harshness, is what leads us to change. And in the days ahead, we'll keep pressing into this, because faith isn't for perfect men. It's for honest men willing to receive the kindness of God. Now think about this for a minute. A father who learns to speak kindly to himself will speak more gently to his children. A husband who gives himself compassion will be more patient with his wife. A leader who knows how to rest will lead teams that don't burn out. A brother who forgives himself becomes a brother safe enough to confess to. Kindness to yourself is not selfish. It's stewardship. It's leadership. It's legacy. So let me hand you something today. A permission slip. You don't have to earn kindness. You don't have to prove you deserve it. You already do. Because you're human. Because God made you. Because you matter. So here's your permission slip. Speak gently. Rest intentionally. Forgive quickly. Laugh freely. And when that inner critic rises up, and he will, look him in the eye and say, "Hey, thanks for trying to keep me safe, but I've got this now." So here's my question to you as we wrap this up today. What's one way you'll be kind to yourself this week? Drop it in the comments. Not just for you, but for the brother who's scrolling, looking for an idea, looking for permission, looking for hope. Your answer might be the one that changes his whole trajectory. And if this message hit home, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell. Because somewhere out there, another brother needs this too. When you share, when you comment, when you spread the word, you're not just helping me, you're helping men everywhere remember the truth. We owe ourselves kindness. And it's time we started paying that debt. And brother, if kindness frees us from cruelty, the next battle is with perfection. The voice that says you must always perform, always prove, always measure up. That's where we're heading next. The perfection trap. I'm Paul, and this is Paul on Purpose.